Hi, welcome to today's lesson. I'm Camilla from A Twist of Yarn, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of doing a gauge swatch in the round. So instead of having to do a large circumference in order to get yourself to knit in the round, that's a lot of yarn, it's a lot of time, that's a lot of effort just to be able to figure out what your gauge is in the round. And the reason why we want to be able to do the gauge swatch in order to give us the proper numbers. And believe it or not, your gauge swatch numbers will be different in the round versus when you're knitting flat. Because when you're knitting flat, you're purling. So you're actually putting tension on that purl stitch, bringing it back and forth. So your tensions are a little bit different. So an easy little trick in order to do a gauge swatch in the round is called carrying your yarn. So we're just going to make these long floats along the back of our swatch. So when we are knitting flat, all I'm going to do is I've just knit across. I'm going to take my hand here. I'm going to take the yarn and just sort of wrap it around my hand to give it a little bit of slackness. And then I'm just going to start and I'm going to knit. And I'm going to knit all the way across. And the reason we give it a little bit of slackness and to keep it a little bit loose, because if we pull too tight, it's going to pull the edges in. And that too will change the space in which we can measure our gauge. Now, you can see from my swatch here that I've done some garter stitching so we can measure a nice flat space here. I did not continue that up the sides. It's not super critical in this particular case. You can if you want to, but it's this area in here where we really want to do that measuring. So again, once you've finished, you're going to slide your work all the way back. So a circular needle is mandatory for this one. And your yarn is right there. And we're just going to start knitting. We're going to wrap that around, keep it a little bit slack. Start your first stitch and carry on. You can see specifically where I've gotten to here. So there's about 4 inches here, and I'm about 2.5 to 3 inches here. And I can already tell that in this particular case, my knitting is actually a little more snug. So I'm probably going to have more stitches per inch here than I am here. And I have not changed my needle size. So I'm going to measure. I'm going to do this over 2 inches because this is a chunkier yarn. So I'm going to have 6 and a smidgen. So I'm just going to say 6 by the time it's, sort of settled and blocked. And now up here, so I actually have 7 stitches in 2 inches difference. So over the circumference of a full garment, those 2 stitches over 4 inches is going to make a significant difference in the size of your project. Normally, I don't recommend gauge swatch for a hat because hats are stretchy and they go over your head. But if you're looking for a particular size, for a particular size person, you may just want to do a little bit of a gauge swatch, depending on it. But most importantly, this is for a garment. If you're wanting to do a sweater of some kind, absolutely critical. And this way, it just saves you time and energy, not having to make a full circumference of a swatch, but you can do this quickly and do a little swatch. And then if in the end you can block it, wet block it, set it, see if there's any changes. Sometimes I have seen people cut it. I don't cut it. Save your yarn. in the end, you can just pull out your thread and reuse the yarn. Hopefully that will be helpful in your future swatches, especially when it comes to knitting in the round. Thanks for watching today. Feel free to comment and subscribe below.